it coming.
Hey, this is Jimmy Jive, and you're listening to Motor City Rock Talk. Today, my guest is a member of a band that's been around quite a number of years in the metropolitan Detroit area. I remember seeing them back probably late 80s, early 90s. They've recorded quite a few records over time, a lot of great, real etchy pop stuff. The name of the band is the Incurables, and today I'm speaking with the bass player, Mr. Ray Lawson. How you doing, Ray?
Hey, Jimmy, you're doing great. Thanks for having me.
No problem, brother. All right, let's start out with a little background. Tell me a little bit about where you're from and what were some of your earliest musical influences that more or less guided you towards where you ended up as far as music and band.
Well, all the guys, we're from pretty much Wayne, Westland area.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we grew up, went to school. We started out years ago when I met Pat. We were in kindergarten together. That's how long I've known Pat, the guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
We just, grew up listening, those guys, Pat years ago had, him and another guy, they were playing, they said, wanted to get a band together, and they were two guitar players, and I played guitar, and they said, well, we don't need a guitar player, we need a bass player. So I joined, and we had the love of British Invasion. Back then, we loved Beatles, Kinks, The Who, and we all had that same love of music, evolved there from, the British Invasion to the punk scene, to, New Wave, Blondie, and all bands like that. And one of my favorite bands, Cheap Trick, you gotta love Cheap Trick.
Oh, love them, man.
And we all had the same, love for the same style of music, and just took off from there. And, it's like, hey, we can do this. Let's, we just started jamming and started playing, and basically Pat and I've never stopped.
So, are you from the same area then? I'm in Redford, so you mentioned Westland.
Yeah, Pat and I, we both grew up in Wayne. Actually, Pat was born in Detroit. They moved to Wayne, when he was younger. And then my cousin, who plays drums, Darren, he grew up in Westland. We all went to, Wayne High.
Right.
Dennis, he grew up in Westland, so we kind of grew up in the same vicinity.
Okay, that's interesting. Then, did you start? I don't imagine the Incurables were your first band. Tell me a little bit about some of the earliest band incarnations you had. I mean, did you start right out playing with them, calling it something different, or were you always?
Well, we call it. Yeah, we actually had many. It's actually same core guys, but different names. We earlier we started off at the Shadows. Then that we did that for a couple years, and then someone just called us. You guys are hopeless. Incurable. So we looked that up. It's like, Incurables, see hopeless. It's like, hey, well, that kind of goes with us. Plus, we're big romantic fans.
Yeah.
So and then incurably romantic. So it's like, well, we can take the first part of that and use that as our name. And we've been the Incurables ever since. We've jammed with a few other people here and there. Each member, but it's just not the same. It's like it's like we're cheating on each other. So we've been the Incurables pretty much forever. It seems like.
So how long has that been? As you mentioned, you guys went to school together, high school. So how long has this incarnation of the band, or the earliest incarnation of the band, been together?
Well, like you said, probably early '80s we changed our name to the Incurables.
Okay.
So out of high school, I think we were the Shadows for for a few years, and we used to play at the. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Studio Lounge.
Of course.
That was one of our first gigs. We went there up on a Sunday night. We were all underage, and they said, "Well, you guys can go up there and play, but you got to leave soon as you're done." So that was our first experience. Yeah. Then I think after that, I don't think we even had a name then. I think we went with the Shadows then. But then the Incurables, like say we probably early '80s, and then we haven't had another name since. We've been incurably hopeless ever since.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Good music either way. Yeah, I don't remember seeing you early '80s, but I do remember seeing you later. And it's funny that you'd mentioned the Studio Lounge as far as the West Side. I did not think you guys were a West Side band, because I know that when I saw you, it would have been more, I'm pretty sure, like either Paycheck, Lily's Hamtramck Pub, that scene. So I always assumed you guys were East Side.
Well, see, yeah, and we never, like I say, we're, from West End, so we're right in the middle of Ann Arbor and Detroit. So we're, and we fit more, like we played around here because we like to take some of like the, older songs and kind of like put our flair onto them. And some people say, oh, you play oldies. It's like, no, we don't really play oldies. We just, some of this music is what we like, so we, incorporate into our own style.
Say you don't, get I still think
and then along with our originals. And this side, everyone wanted the cover band stuff. But our first gig out in Hamtramck was at the Hamtramck Pub, which was amazing. It was our first time there. It was like, oh, okay, this is, there was only a few people there. But when on stage, everyone, they turned the TV off. Everyone turned around and they watched us. And it's like, this is amazing. This is where we belong. And then when we were done with our set, they actually recorded us and they played back the set while we were breaking down.
They recorded you, what, video or audio?
Audio. So yeah, all of a sudden we're breaking down our equipment and then we go, hey, here's the set. We just recorded it. So I was like, oh, this is great. Yeah, it was awesome. I like to say, and that was Paychecks, Lilies, awesome clubs.
Did you ever, one of the old stomping grounds for my bands back in the day, and we were West Side more or less, but we played a lot Hamtramck area, but we also played at a club in Dearborn called Rerun. Did you guys ever play there?
We never had the chance to play at Reruns, no.
You're familiar with the place though, right?
Yeah, yes I am, yes.
What were some of the other places you played outside of the Hamtramck area? I mean, other than, the West Side. You mentioned the Studio Lounge. Did you ever play like the Token Lounge or?
We did the Token. We did Skylight, Side Street. Though that was more downriver. Right. Then we took in the East Side. We did the Ritz and New York.
Right. Two really big clubs at that time. I know that.
Oh yeah.
A lot of fun, but such a big stage. I remember that was such a big stage, and you really had to be on top of your game. And I know from seeing you guys, you would have been, because you were, I don't want to say overly animated like you nut jobs, but you could keep it lively enough, keep the audience fulfilled, let's just say, as far as that. Plus, the music was really good and catchy. As far as the music, when did you guys start writing original material? Was it right off the bat, kind of teetering with covers?
Well, we focused more on covers. Unfortunately, that's where some of the money was back then. Sure. And probably still is today. I think we started writing originals. We never played them out. I think maybe it was like say late 80s, 87, something like that. We started incorporating more original. We recorded EP. And then we just kind of just weaving those in there. Do some covers, do some covers, do an original, and then then we hit like the opening act. We opened up for we remember BSA and Toby Red and all those guys. And we kind of when we did that, it was like, let's focus on our originals and we'll throw some of our cool covers in there.
Yeah, those were more like showcase gigs.
Yep. And those were the funnest ones. I mean, so you don't make any money, but you have best time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as far as that, what would have been the very first original song that you guys played out live? Just curious.
First original we played, it would probably have been, okay, I'm going to name two because it's about the same time we wrote these. A song called If She Knew and 17.
Okay.
And it's like, say, Pat, that was like one of his compositions, 17, and If She Knew was one of mine. But we still collaborate on all our music. And those were the two that, focused on back then.
Now, did those end up on that first EP?
Yes, actually they did. It's on vinyl. I think we still have some copies around somewhere.
What, 45s?
Well, back then it was the size of a 45, but it was played at 33. So we had a couple more songs on there.
Oh, that's very cool. Did you put any of your other releases on like full-length 12-inch vinyl?
No, that's one of our like a bucket list things here to do actual full vinyl. I mean, because vinyl's coming back. And,
coming back.
And you can't go wrong. I mean, vinyl, the sound of vinyl. I mean, and CDs are great and everything like that. Nothing about that warmth, sound of vinyl.
You're absolutely right. And the thing about recording, did you guys start out as far as recording like a lot of bands did? In the basement, demoing stuff on 4-track or anything like that?
Oh yeah. We set up our own little recording studio in my dad's basement. Back then Pat devised a home recording system where he bought two cassette recorders, and he would record us on one, and then we'd bounce stuff over to him to the other one when I played and stuff like that. So
right.
It was very primitive recordings back then.
Yeah, but that's what kind of made them cool. It was kind of a garage sounding thing, which became popular over the years, When would have been the first time and whereabouts did you guys actually get to record in an actual studio?
Are you familiar with Rick Young?
Of course, Talent Live.
That's where, we recorded there with Rick, and that was one of our, I think that's where we did our EP. I take that back. We did record at a place in Sterling Heights. I can't even remember the name of the studio, but it was more like, the guy had a studio in his basement, went there, for the whole day. We kind of did, I think no originals. It was just 7, 8 covers in one day. We all played at the same time, and he just recorded us. It wasn't, our full, studio experience was probably at Talent Live.
I know Rick really well. As a matter of fact, I interviewed him. It was one of the very first interviews I've done for this. As far as getting signed, and you say they do quite a bit for you, what specifically do they do for you? Do they help you get gigs? Do they get you on kind of tours? As far as tour support, what specifically can they or do they do for you?
What they did for us, or what they still do for us, open up to a lot of new, venues in the way of radio. Shopped our stuff out to, a lot of different stations that we would never have known of. They got us a lot of interviews with some pretty cool publications, the indie rock publications online and in print. And they, the gigs and stuff we still do ourselves, and still, looking for, ways to improve that. But yeah, they they help us out with promoting our CD, our music. So and that's and they're very respected in the indie power pop community.
Okay. Now, as far as playing, like I mentioned earlier, and we had mentioned getting here about all these different metropolitan area clubs and bars you played at. Whereabouts have you played over the years outside of the Michigan area?
Ooh, well, like I said, we've done the Sturgeon Spike Rally out in South Dakota. We did that when that was a surreal experience there, if you to say the least.
Sure.
And we've recently we've ventured out down south. We've played Kentucky, Ohio, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, and we're looking to expand. And we did Toronto last year. Was our first time over in Canada. So we've kind of broadened our experience in the live venues.
Oh, that's very cool. The other thing that I remember you had mentioned to me back when I talked to you last year a little bit was for the second time the band was going over across the pond to London, playing the Caravan. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about? How did you get to go over that? Did the label have anything to do with that? How did you get over there to play?
Well, our first invitation was right before COVID. This gentleman, David Bash, he puts on this festival, PO, International Pop Overthrow Festival. Mm-hmm. And they were coming to Detroit. They heard about us. They invited us to play down at the time PJ's Lager House. And we said, and then he said, well, we're also doing the Unlimited Camera Club. So it's like, would you be interested in doing that? And we were like, well, hell yeah, who wouldn't be? that. And then COVID came and screwed everything up. It's like all of a sudden, things got canceled, this and this, and so it's like, well, a few years after, everything started going back to semi-normal. He's like, hey, we're going to be back at the Camera Club. We're starting up. You got your invitation still holds? And we said, definitely count us in. So we went over there. I mean, it's a real experience. I mean, just sit, walk the streets where the Beatles were, some of our all-time heroes. Sure. It was amazing. And the people we met over there were simply amazing. We actually, one of the guys that came seeing us, he actually made Pat a custom guitar.
Oh, wow.
And so he made him a custom Incuracaster.
Oh, that's great.
And he's like, oh, mate, I don't need any money. It's just, you guys are awesome. And, thank you so much for coming over. And it's just like, man, and the friends we made. So, yeah, he made that. So the last time we went over a few years, last year, he actually got the chance to play the guitar and bring it back home with him. The first time I played, too, Dennis knows some people over in Liverpool. So we had some friends over there, and they got all our instruments for us, so we didn't have to take anything over.
Wow, that's cool.
And the one bass I played was this Hohner Rick Hoppy bass. And I go, man, you ever want to sell this? And he's like, I'll buy it, and I'll pay for shipping. He goes, mate, it's yours. He goes, no, you pay for shipping. I just want to see it get used. He says, I don't play anymore, and it's like, I would just love to see someone use it. It's like, are you kidding me? It's like, so we had the chance to play in the Camera Club. We did 3 shows over there first time. Last time we did another 3 shows, and then to meet the people over there, and so we got some lifelong friends. And I said, it couldn't work out any better.
Now, what kind of, when you go over there, you're playing at this legendary club. You're walking, like you said, in the footsteps of giants. What do you come out on stage and play first?
What song we played first?
Yeah. I mean, you got to think that through. I mean, what are we playing first? This is big.
Well, I think the first song we played was "Bottom of Love." That's original of ours. And then I don't think we did. They told us, it's like stick to your originals. We friends of ours. They're Chris Hyde of Sound of Spitfire. He owns a radio station over there.
Yeah. And
he played our stuff. I think for a few years before we went over. And so we get a chance to meet him. He goes, stick to your originals. Don't even you go to a cavern. There's a cavern club and a cavern pub, and we played both. And there's a sign on the wall at the cavern pub, no covers. So it's like, okay, so we're sticking to originals.
No covers. In other words, they don't encourage you to play an interpretation of a Beatles song.
We kind of made that mistake first time. They go, you have to make your time. What do you want to do? And Dennis is a guitar player, a real big Beatle fan, and he's like, well, let's do Paperback Writer. It's like, I don't know, and we did it. We shouldn't have done that. You do it. It's kind of like, well, we can't take that back, can we? We got to play. Not playing on. Pat, wasn't playing on his amp and everything. And It's like he did balls of his sound. It's like, this was a mistake.
Did it not go over? Or did
it went over okay, but not like we probably should have done a Monkees tune. that probably would have went over better.
You'd almost expect that would be what they'd expect at least one song in tribute to the club as far as its, legendary status. But then again, I'm sure over the years, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that may have played there has done that and done it probably to death.
It was a learning experience.
Sure. Now, there again, being such a legendary club, did you record any? Were you a video recorded or audio recorded?
Yes. We did. We made sure we got some videos. We have a YouTube channel of one. I think one of our, actually a couple songs from the first shows on there. No, take that back. The last show, the guy that built Guitar for Pat, Ian, actually recorded the whole show for us. So he put it out on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we made sure we said had to get some video of it. So when we do, and we recorded the first time we were there and the second time.
A video or audio or both?
No audio, video.
Well, let me ask you this then, because I know this isn't something that bands tend to do anymore, but has there been any thought of maybe putting that out as a CD release? I mean, a live album kind of thing? Not only a live album, but a live album at a legendary club overseas?
You know what? I wish we'd have thought of that then.
It's not too late. Yeah, I thought you said you had recorded the whole show.
Well, I mean, we recorded on video, but to actually, we should have, hooked up some. I mean, everything's so compact. We could have took some recording equipment over there and hooked up to the board.
Oh, so the sound quality because this video isn't good as you think it should be?
I enjoy it, but Pat's our guitar player. He's the one that's just, I think he's one perfectionist. He's always like, this has got to be right. It's right. That would be kind of cool to do.
Yeah, I would say take it to Feeney and ask him. Say, what do you think? Is there any possibilities with this? Even if you had to go into the studio maybe and do this and that with it may be worth it because it'll be something for all times. How many bands can say we put our live album, recorded it at the Cavern Club?
Live at Liverpool. There's the title of the CD. Now you got me thinking. I'm gonna have to talk to Pat about that one.
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you thinking, especially on a snowy afternoon.
It's like, Pat, we're gonna we'll have to get all those videos together and see what we got.
Okay, well, the latest album that you put out, that came out, what was that, 2023 or was that 24?
24. It actually came out probably a year ago. Yeah, I think it was January. I think it was January. Yep.
Okay. And how is it done as far as I imagine you're selling like your shows and
very. It seems to be going very well. I mean, we're still getting played. Some of these countdowns. A year later, and it's made some of the top 20. Top albums of 2024. So that we were very happy with that. Yeah, and like saying, we're never gonna rest. Already made it back into the studio and we started recording our next album.
That's what I meant to ask. If you had started something new, it had something in the works as far as this year or maybe later this year.
Well, laid some tracks down. And plan on we've got basically the bass and the drums down, and we need to make a plan to go back in very, very, very soon to record vocals, guitars. And hopefully, I'm not sure when. I know Big Stir has a time frame that when they're going to release stuff. In the meantime, we're going to probably do a little surprise singles here and there, and we got some stuff recorded that we're going to shoot out there. I'm more than happy with the album. Like I say, Big Stir's helped us out tremendously on that. It seems to be getting some really good press. Not bad for a bunch of guys that's been doing this for a while.
Well, that's the whole point. You've been doing it for a while. As far as radio airplay, are we talking college radio, internet radio? What kind of radio airplay are you referring to?
I mean, they're getting us on, mainstream stations. It's kind of like, nowadays with, back in the day, you pretty much had college or mainstream. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, you got, internet, you got, college radio, mainstream. It's all pretty much in one pot now. It's like we've gotten rotation on some mainstream radio, a lot of airplay on college radio and internet radio. Everyone's out there listening to it in whatever form they can. So it's great.
To me, it's like, what are the kids listening to this stuff on nowadays? And it seems to be it's internet radio. It seems to be internet. Because tell me this, are you getting or have you gotten any radio airplay locally as far as the big three?
The Riffs played us quite a few times. We were, before they changed formats, the River, they had that, I think Dan McConnell, he had a show on there, and he would, and he played us on there. A few stations up in Saginaw, Z-Rock, they played us. College radio, Henry Ford Radio, WHFR.
I was just more like, I guess, thinking in terms of like when you said Riff, WRF. When you talk radio airplay from Riff, Are you talking mainstream or Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
Yeah, well, Sunday nights at 10, yeah. Get into the rotation. I think on that, it's like...
Because, I mean, the corporate owned, and I know that's
corporate radio
next to impossible until you're almost a major signed band to get in that kind of rotation. And to me, that's crazy because I've talked to a lot of bands, and it wasn't always like that, as you know, back when the jocks could actually program some of their own music. It's so funny how so many of the bands can get more radio airplay outside of the city or the state they're from than inside. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that is so true. I mean, we've gotten, like, say, in the UK, there's a lot of stations right now that are playing us. It's like, and then, like, say, from our hometown, you don't get the love that you do from out and abroad.
And it doesn't seem to matter unless you get to the level of something like Sponge, Kid Rock, or, stuff of that level, which is a major signed act. You're not getting anything on corporate radio in Detroit. The last thing I'm going to ask you about is, I know you got some shows coming up, and this is how I thought to reach out to you again to do this interview. Like I told you up there earlier, I ran into you at Road Rangers last year. You're going to be playing at Road Rangers again this year. Maybe coming up in March with the Zots and someone else. Tell us a little bit about that date. Tell me when that date is again.
That is March 28th. I think it's a Friday. It's going to be us, the Zots, Hear Me Out, which is my son's band. So it's going to be a very cool show. All three of us playing. The Zots are awesome.
I love you.
Love those guys. And that's what I say. We had a chance to put them on our they cut from their latest album on our show. But yeah, they reached out and said, "You guys want to do a show?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I love it." And Road Rangers is if you haven't been to Road Rangers, that's the place to go see a band. Oh, Tim and Kristen, they're awesome people. And it's just a great. I mean, the stage is great, the sound is great, the lights. I mean,
everything is really cool. And the other thing, and I don't know if you guys had done this, and I don't see why every band that plays there doesn't do it, whether you make a penny or not. This guy can record you.
Yeah.
Record it. My God. How bad can it sound? I mean, you can even videotape it. The room's a good sounding room. And like I say, I love the place. I can't wait to come to see you guys there. I'm always looking at an excuse to come to Road Rangers. When I saw you guys were playing there, and especially with the Zots, I said, I got to be there.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Like anytime we, play Road Rangers, it's just, awesome time. Even when they do they do a lot of benefits and stuff. And, they ever reach out to us, it's like, count us in, we're always be there.
All right, well, Ray, I'm going to let you go. I really, really appreciate talking to you today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Well, I appreciate it.
No problem. And I do look forward to seeing you guys, in March with the Zots at Road Rangers. I encourage everybody. Again, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You have a great day, good evening, and we'll see you in March.
All right, see you soon. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was Ray Lawson from the Incurables. Really fun band. Always been a fun band. Like he said, they've been around. I didn't realize they'd been around that early in the 80s. Like I said, when I first caught them, it would have been the late 80s, but I wasn't going to all those bars at that time, so it makes sense. And I also didn't realize they were from the West Side, because like I said, I'd never seen them on the West Side. I've always seen them back in the day over at places like Hamtramck Pub, Lily's, Paychecks. That's where I remember seeing them, and in retrospect, I always think that's kind of what their music kind of, to me, sounds like. It's more East Side, that kind of like alternative, fun action stuff, whereas I know from experience, this side of town, like you said, they want more covers, or it had been a little bit more for the metal, hard rock scene over in the West Side, Token Studio, that kind of stuff. But anyway, they're going to be playing, like you said, March 28th at Road Rangers in lovely Taylor. If you haven't been there, check the place out. It's a really cool club. The band sound great, not overly big, so the lights in the stage, it's just a really good concert experience. Okay, I'd also like to mention that if you're into high-fidelity stereo equipment and you'd like to get something repaired, or you wondered about getting something repaired, you need to see my buddies over at 7 Grand Audio over in South Redford. They're at 25642 7 Mile Road, and actually on 7 Mile. The phone number over there is 313-533-3635. The owner, Dash, and his worker, Harry, have been in business for over 40 years, and when I tell you they can fix anything, they can fix anything. They specialize in anything, vintage or otherwise. Receivers, turntables, EQs, 8-track players, CD players, whatever. They can work on them, they can fix them. They're an honest group, and just, I can't say enough about them. Check them out. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. And make sure you mention that Jimmy sent you. Anyway, with that said, as I like to always say, keep rocking.